And we are live. So once again, hello everybody. My name is Sanket and I welcome you all into today's session where we will go ahead and talk about how to start a career in cybersecurity, irrespective of you coming from a technical or non-technical background. There are multiple aspects, multiple situations, people in multiple, level of their career. We will discuss all that, and we are going to go ahead and inform you, discuss with you how can anybody start a career in cybersecurity. Cybersecurity has been the need of the hour, and it's probably the only industry that actually boasts 0% unemployability, though. And it's a global phenomena, So that's the thing. So in order to go ahead and talk about it more and take you through this journey, we are privileged to have Wahab with us. Now, Wahab Iranmesh is a PhD and has been working in the field of cybersecurity for quite some time now. If I go ahead and talk about him, he is an experienced advisor with a demonstrated history in working in information services and this industry. And he has been working in penetration testing, digital forensics, computer networking, just to name a few. He is a strong professional with a PhD in communications and network engineering, focused in network security. And he has trained more than thousands of students already to kickstart their career into the world of cybersecurity. So I'm not going to go ahead and hold this for long. I will pass on the mic to Wahab. Can go ahead and take you into the wonderful world of cybersecurity. Wahab, the mic is yours. It's all yours.
Thank you so much, Sanket, for the great introduction. Yeah, so probably I need your help, Sanket, in this case, in the case that if someone will ask any kind of question, because I almost, lose kind of access to chat box at the moment, but I'm able to start, my presentation right now. So I would like to say hello, good evening, good afternoon, good morning to everyone. I believe we are just, gathering together at the moment from different places, probably maybe from different countries. That's why I don't know from where you are trying to just, joining this session. And I would like to say thank you so much again for joining me this afternoon or morning, or maybe, I don't know if it's night over there. So as I say, it's depending on where you are trying to join this session. So today's topic that I'm going to talk about it is specifically about cybersecurity in general, or career in cybersecurity in general. And I'm going to talk about, to be honest, I'm going to talk about some sort of answer to some question that I already mentioned there right in front of me. And probably some of these questions might be your questions in your mind, and you can get to know the answer to this kind of questions. But if there is no such kind of answer, or if there is no kind of question that I'm going to share with you right now, so please go ahead and ask me at the end of this session, so I will be able to just get back to you, after I will be able to finish this presentation. So first thing first, I'm going to just cover these 10 questions that I prepared for you through this kind of presentation or slide. The first question that I'm going to answer here is, what is cybersecurity in general? The second question here is, why is cybersecurity important? Why we need to pay attention to cybersecurity? Question number 3 is, what is the cost of cyber attack, right? Because sometimes people, organizations, or companies, they may say, we don't want cybersecurity, but if they will be aware of the cost of cybersecurity, probably they may need to change their mind. And question 4 will be, what is cybersecurity talent gap? So I'm going to let you know about this kind of terminology, and probably you can just guess what does this mean by cybersecurity talent gap. But if you're not aware of it, it doesn't matter. So I'm going to just come to that. Question number 5, I'm going to let you know what we need to get into cybersecurity in terms of skills. So I'm going to let you know which kind of skills you may need in order to just come into cybersecurity or move into this career at the end of the day. And question number 6 that I'm going to answer, I've seen this question a lot, that people or students around the world ask me a lot, which kind of programming language or programming language within this way I need to know in order to move to cybersecurity or area or field or career in this case. So I'm going to answer this kind of question. Question number 7, this is kind of good question that from time to time, students, people around the world, they may ask me, do we need any kind of university degrees like bachelor or master or PhD in order to come to cybersecurity or moving, to cybersecurity area? So I'm going to answer that question as well. Question number 8 will be about job market. I'm going to share with you what is the current cybersecurity job market, what happened in the past, what's happening at the moment in 2023, what is going to be happen until 2025. Until 2030 in this case. So this is kind of expectation that we are going to see. And question number 9 is about what are some popular cybersecurity jobs at the moment available for everyone. So I'm going to share with you what are those common cybersecurity jobs that, probably after attending any kind of trainings or any kind of programs, you're able to join any businesses relevant to this kind of, jobs or roles at the end of the day. And last but not least, the last question, question number 10, I'm going to let you know how you're supposed to learn these cybersecurity skills. What are those methods or different ways that probably if you're looking for, moving to cybersecurity or upskill yourself, what are those methods in this case to just upskill yourself in cybersecurity? So by knowing this kind of 10 question, I'm moving to next slide. So this is kind of quick reminder, as Sanket mentioned about it just now. This session is about, an hour, but it's almost like 5-6 minutes of it is almost gone. So I'm going to talk about, all of these question and answering all of this question within the next 55 minutes. And this session is already recorded, and for sure, we can just watch this presentation later on if you like. And if you will have any kind of questions, please don't hesitate to just let me know, or through chat box, or you can just open your mic. It doesn't matter. We can have some sort of conversation at the end of this session. So I'm going to just keep last 5-10 minutes of this presentation for Q&A. If you will have any kind of doubts or question, you can just let me know. Moving to the next slide, this slide is showing some sort of details about me, and this is very brief, and I know it's too wordy. That's why I'm going to just pay attention to kind of maybe keywords about myself, my background, my experience in this case. So as you know, my name is Wahab Manesh. So I'm holding PhD in Communication and Network Engineering from University Putra, Malaysia. And a couple of years ago, I moved to United Kingdom. And at the moment, I'm cybersecurity, full-time cybersecurity lecturer and part-time cybersecurity lecturers here and there. So at the moment, I'm working with Malta, Germany, Oman, Singapore, United States, here and there, in terms of teaching, in terms of delivering, in terms of a couple of, projects relevant to pen testing, such as web pen testing, API pen testing, Android application pen testing, digital forensics, such as computer, mobile, malware analysis, reverse engineering, and threat intelligence. So I'm doing this kind of, activities, and obviously, as you can see, cybersecurity is not limited to very specific region or area. So even you can just, come to cybersecurity to teach, to deliver, to work, to do consultation, or doing different services or providing different services for clients, for people here and there. So this is kind of quick background about myself. And for sure, you can just access this kind of slide, this presentation, later on. As I said, it's too wordy, and I'm going to just focus on, as I said, just focus on some sort of keywords or the most important points, as I mentioned. And I prefer to just move on to the next slide and the following and pay attention to details that would be necessary in this case. So moving to this slide, which is really kind of good presentation, good slide to be discussed first. What is cybersecurity in general? So this is kind of definition we should understand this before moving to cybersecurity. Before understanding what is cybersecurity, we are not able to understand its different aspect at the end of the day. So in general, cybersecurity is kind of practice, is kind of mechanism to protect our IT assets, such as security networks, resources, systems, and any critical infrastructure that we may have in our business, in our place at the end of the day. Without cybersecurity, we are not safe and secure at all. So it's similar to physical security, right? For physical security, we may have locks, wall, door, or different methods to protect our buildings or houses or places or car or wherever we are working or living. Similarly, we need the same kind of concept, which is called cybersecurity, to protect our IT assets. And some people, they may say that, unfortunately, we got cybersecurity as long as we got antivirus, we got anti-spam or firewall or installation of this and that. We almost got some sort of cybersecurity, which is not true, because cybersecurity is really wide and is very complex. That's why for cybersecurity, later on, I'm going to show you some sort of roles, some sort of jobs. Probably we need kind of team in our company, in our organization, in our business to ensure that we are safe and secure from different aspects of our business. Sometimes, the hacker could come from our website. Sometimes they could come over from our mobile application, sometimes from Wi-Fi, sometimes through people, some sort of hacking people using social engineering, such as phishing, and much more different ways that the attacker could just hack into our system, network, server, or business at the end of the day. That's why it's not such easy to say that we are safe and secure 100% by a person, basically by installing any kind of antivirus or firewall or any kind of similar solutions at the end of the day. So there is another point that I already highlighted there. If we got cybersecurity in general, right? So we are going to provide safety, integrity, and reliability for our system, for our business, for operation at the end of the day, because we don't want someone to just access to our system without any privilege or permission, or we don't want to have any kind of unauthorized changes that could be happen to our data, to our personal information, our system, and so on and so forth. So that's why we need cybersecurity to ensure that we are safe and secure against any kind of cyber attacks. Moving to the next slide, which is about why is cybersecurity important. So as you know, and as I just now mentioned about it, cybersecurity is going to put ourselves between kind of bad guys and kind of business, or what we are trying to do in terms of business or operation or company at the end of the day. Without this wall, without this kind of divider, we are not safe and secure. And someone can hack into our system, our network, in order to damage something or in order to steal some sort of sensitive data from here and there. That's what we need to ensure, that this kind of wall, this kind of protection is there to protect our business, network, or whatever we may have in terms of IT assets. And for sure, sometimes, the cyber criminals are looking for different things. It could be your business company's secrets, maybe your customers' information or data or any intellectual property or whatever. You can have it as some sort of confidential information at the end of the day. But sometimes, the hackers, they are not looking for these things. They are just hacking your business, your company, your website just for fun. I've seen this a lot. Just for fun, they're looking for hacking into different businesses. But for sure, the first motivation would be stealing some sort of, financial information such as credit card numbers and so on and so forth. So they may have different motivation to just hack into your business, your company, to just provide any kind of harmful things against your business at the end of the day. So for instance, this is kind of statistical information that I already mentioned there. Cyber attack could be very costly, and there is a kind of incident happened last year in 2022. So JBS in the United States, which is kind of largest meat supplier in the United States, they paid ransomware, which was about 11 million last year in 2022. And that is only one case, one scenario that happened only last year, and assume that how many of them never ever reported around the world, or in the case that even the reported one. So you can just get online to understand cybersecurity attacks is really costly at the end of the day. That's why we need to take care of cybersecurity in general, because without that, we may need to pay to the attacker, for instance, in terms of ransomware in order to get the key, which is not suggested, right? Even different countries or different places, they are not giving you this advice to pay for, ransomware or pay as a ransom to the attacker, because this is going to be against law or regulation, or probably maybe you are funding some sort of terrorism or some sort of similar hacking groups at the end of the day. So we must be careful about, what's happening around the world. That's why cybersecurity is really important for everyone at the end of the day. So moving to the next slide, which is specifically about businesses, and it's relevant to previous one, but now it's about only businesses. Why businesses? They need cybersecurity. Because as I said, as long as the hackers or bad guys that are there, they are trying to do harmful things, they are trying to attack into our website or just gaining access, unauthorized access to our system, which could be kind of risk. Because if once they get into our system, website, whatever it is, they are able to steal, they are able to damage, they are able to modify, delete, whatever they would like to do, which is going to impact on our business. And this kind of, impact sometimes in order to just fully recover from the, so in order to just recover from this incident, sometimes it's very costly. So it could, yeah, can you just ensure that you are muted, because I can hear some of you or one of you basically just talking. So as I said, this is going to be costly because sometimes we need to fully recover from this incident. So sometimes the cost could be a matter of time. Sometimes it could be a matter of, purchasing something or having something that is already damaged or already modified. That's why it could be costly at the end of the day. That's why businesses, they don't want this kind of risk or cyber attacks at the end of the day. And assume that you got some sort of employees who are dealing with your daily basis operation by following cybersecurity. As long as they got some sort of cybersecurity to protect their system, to protect their network, so they can do their own daily basis job or task without any kind of interruption, right? So in this case, you are not going to lose anything at the end of the day because everything is working properly. In the case that cyber attacks is happening, so the mechanism that you already implemented, like firewall and antivirus or intrusion detection system or any similar mechanisms over there, they are protecting you against this kind of cyber attacks. So you can say you're safe and secure, your employees, they are safe and secure. So at the end of the day, it's going to be more productive in this case. And similarly, your operation is going to work without any kind of issues and everything's working and everyone is basically happy at the end of the day. That's why businesses, they need cybersecurity to protect themselves against this kind of cyber attacks that might be happen from time to time. So the next topic, the next slide is about increasing threats and the cost of cybercrime, which somehow I mentioned about it, but more statistical information about, the cost of cyber attacks and cyber crimes that could be happen at the moment or in the past. For sure, this kind of cost, cyber crimes, is coming from two sources. The first one would be the malware, such as viruses, trojans, backdoors, ransomware specifically these days, as well as any kind of data breaches, right? In the case that the attacker could be able to hack into your system, network, whatever it is, in order to steal your data, that could be kind of cost for you. Or maybe probably they can infect your system through malware, specifically ransomware, probably similar to the previous slide, it could be costly in this case. So that's what we need to be aware of, the cost of cybercrime, which is really, really important. For instance, FBI, in 2021, they just made this announcement about kind of the rate of cybercrime increased by 7% compared to 2022, which they recorded something like 847,376 kind of complaint or basically kind of cybercrime that happened only in United States, which was, as I said, 7% more than last year, like 2022 in this case. So the potential loss from those reported, how much basically relevant to those kind of recorded already mentioned 22, they did lose something like 6.9 billion United States or US dollar in this case at the end of the day. And the Cybercrime magazine got some sort of, expectation, which is about the cost of, cybercrime that could be happen until 2025, which is about 10.5 trillion annual, right? So it's telling us probably the cost of crime, cybercrime, is going to be increased at the end of the day. And, these days, cyber criminals, they are trying to do their stuff, their activities, their tasks very hard, and they are trying to basically just hiding themselves from being identified or detected by cyber professionals, cybersecurity professionals. So that's why this is kind of put in this way, cat and mouse kind of game. So they are trying to, cyber criminals, they are trying to hide themselves. They are trying to use very sophisticated attacks to ensure that these methods, these techniques, we as a cybersecurity professional, we are not able to identify these people or this kind of, cyber criminals. But at the end of the day, we have to just be ahead of these people to ensure that we are able to identify them. We are able to understand their methods, their techniques, tactics, tools, applications, motivation that they are dealing with, to ensure that we are, on top of what they are trying to do in order to catch them. Moving to next topic, which is about the demand for cybersecurity professional. That's why it comes to this idea or this terminology, which is called cybersecurity talent gap. So cybersecurity talent gap, this is kind of terminology relevant to the gap of talents in cybersecurity that the globe, the world basically, they need at the moment. So if you pay attention to some sort of jobs website here and there, maybe in Singapore, maybe US, maybe UK, Germany, Europe, or Australia, or different places, every time that you visit this job website, for sure there are a couple of job posts relevant to cybersecurity, and they are looking for some sort of cybersecurity professional through different levels. Could be entry level, could be intermediate one, could be senior level one, or advanced level, basically requiring you to join their companies, their businesses, to ensure that they are safe and secure. So that's why this is kind of cybersecurity talent gap, which exists everywhere. It's not only relevant to specific region or countries at the moment, and for sure is going to stay there for at least a couple of years from now, because everything is getting online and everyone is trying to just access, online services. And for sure, as long as everything is getting online, we need some sort of cybersecurity professional to ensure that all of these IT assets, they are safe and secure. So this is kind of another information that we already found it online. So the recent estimation about over 3.5 million cybersecurity roles never ever basically fill in 2021. So as you can see, globally 3.5 million cybersecurity positions or roles, nobody was there to fill up this kind of position, which happened in 2021. I assume that how many of them could be still available in 2022, 2023 at the moment, right? So it means that cybersecurity, it requires more people, more cybersecurity professionals to join this area to basically move on in order to catch bad guys or hackers in this case. And there is another statistical information from this kind of report. It's called PricewaterhouseCoopers. They mentioned that usually less than half of companies globally, they are not prepared for cybersecurity basically, right? So it means that, again, we need cybersecurity professionals to ensure that we are safe and secure. The businesses, the companies, they are safe and secure against any kind of cyber attacks that could be happen. So similarly, it's not only about cybersecurity professional. At the same time, we got some sort of cyber criminals, and this kind of ratio is increasing in terms of cyber criminals. So as I said, this is kind of mouse and cat game at the end of the day. Since we are looking for increasing number of cybersecurity professionals globally, for sure the number of cyber criminals is increasing every single, I can say, day at the end of the day. That's why we need kind of proper skilled people or professional in this area to join any industries or businesses to ensure that we are able to just fight against cyber criminals at the end of the day. So moving to the next slide, which is about this topic. So the question here is, so what's needed to get into cybersecurity? So in general, we can say we may need to just be aware of a couple of aspects in terms of cybersecurity in order to get into cybersecurity area. So first thing first, we need to get familiar with some sort of daily basis activities that we may need to ensure that we are able to move to cybersecurity, such as communication skills, right? These are some sort of soft skills, or pay attention to some sort of details, or being kind of creative person or problem solver at the end of the day. So having these three kind of soft skills put in this way, you are able to move on to cybersecurity, but again, it's not enough. This is kind of fundamental, a soft skill that it requires you to just helping you to move to cybersecurity. And later on, we may need to know some sort of fundamental things in terms of IT or computer science, such as computer fundamentals, such as how computer works, how different components of computer, they are talking to each other in terms of hardware, in terms of software, how the web application technologies, how the software, how the system, they are working together. what are those programming languages available, and basically people they may use to develop different systems, different applications, and how the risk assessment standards and protocols they are working, and we can use them to ensure that we are safe and secure at the end of the day. So by knowing these two things, two areas, we can move on to kind of specific, area or specific direction at the end of the day. It's something like doctor specialist, right? The moment you want to go to, GP or general, practitioner or doctor, if you're really, seriously, ill or sick, they may just introduce you to some sort of specialist in this case. So similar in cybersecurity, after learning some sort of fundamental knowledge, probably you can move on to some sort of specialties. So these are some sort of specialties I already mentioned there, and for sure we can have more than this. As I said, these are popular ones such as penetration tester or pen testing or security analyst or maybe digital forensic, right? So each of these different specialists maybe give you different, experience. It may require different knowledge and experience in this case to get into your area or your specialist at the end of the day. For instance, penetration tester or in pen testing, probably you are trying to identify any kind of vulnerabilities of systems such as computer, web, cloud, network, mobile app, API, and much more. So basically you are helping businesses, organizations to be aware of what are those available vulnerabilities or security issues, put in this way, and probably can just write a report and tell them these are all of these security issues that I was able to identify, and this is kind of solution for each of these security issue in order to fix it. And this report should be submitted to the business organization at the end of the day to help them to fix these issues. Or in terms of security analysts, probably you're looking for some sort of evidences in the case that incident happened, maybe cybercrime, they try to hack into any, I don't know, businesses or organization. So probably you as security analyst or digital forensic investigator, you can come to the scene, crime scene, to look for some sort of evidences to understand what happened, what was the issue, what was the motivation of this team or this hacking team or person or individual one, and what was the main issue in this case that this attack, this incident happened. And basically, if it's necessary, you can sue someone or a specific group or any organization or company who was behind it, and so on and so forth. So as you can see, these are some sort of specialties that you can move on after learning some sort of fundamental area or fundamental knowledge and experience in IT or computer science, as I said just now. Moving to the next slide, which is about skills that needed for cybersecurity jobs. I'm going to talk about that in details. So first thing first, I already mentioned this couple of, general or soft skill just now, a few slides ago, but now I'm going to focus on them and giving you more details specifically. So for instance, here is about problem solving skills, which is really, really important in cybersecurity, because every single day in cybersecurity, we may not have specific problem or specific challenge, right? Even it's the same thing at the moment for me, every single day, whatever I'm doing. So it's kind of quite new challenge for me. So in this case, I need to have this skill, problem solving skill, to help me to cope with this issue, to cope with this challenge at the end of the day. So it's not really fixed. It's very variable one. It's very dynamic. So I'm talking about cybersecurity, area or cybersecurity direction or career if you're looking for moving to cybersecurity. That's why problem solving skill, it requires basically someone who is moving to cybersecurity to be there, to be available from time to time. So you need this skill at the end of the day to cope your challenge. Moving to the next one, and for sure, technical kind of skills, if you want to just, talk about it, specialties specifically, you need to be aware of some sort of skills, such as I already, just put some sort of notes over there or some sort of keyboards there. Probably you need to be aware of some sort of troubleshooting, how you can do troubleshooting in terms of maybe networking, in terms of systems, in terms of maybe application or software, if you like, you can say debugging, in terms of maintaining, again, could be relevant to computer networks, in terms of updating information security systems, probably how we can just update if there is any kind of information security systems available in your company organization. And not only this, probably you should be aware of implementing some sort of monitoring network and system to ensure that they are safe and secure against any kind of existing attack or maybe future attacks, and much more things that probably you should do in this case. So these are kind of technical skills that you should get to know at the end of the day. And what else you need to be aware of it for sure, and it's really important. Again, you need to be aware of different security platforms, because these days we are dealing with a couple of platforms in terms of, specifically the internet or web. For instance, I don't know how many of you are trying to join this session using different platforms. Probably some of you are using, maybe in terms of operating system, maybe Linux, it could be Mac, it could be Windows, it could be Android, it could be iPhone. Even your browser could be Firefox, Chrome, and much more. And as you can see, we are dealing with different platforms, different kind of technologies, different ways to get online. That's why as cybersecurity expert or professional, you should be aware of, this kind of different platforms at the end of the day. Because if you're aware of these different platforms, for sure, you are able to study, you are able to examine these different platforms relevant to your business, relevant to your company, to ensure that these platforms are safe and secure. You are able to identify any security issues relevant to this platform in order to report to person in charge to fix it as soon as possible. Moving to next slide. Again, that is really important. Pay attention to some sort of details, because hacking or hackers or bad actors or bad guys, they are doing sometimes very sophisticated attacks. And as I said, they are trying to hide themselves, their patterns, their activities behind some sort of other data or information. That's why it's really important to just pay attention to some sort of details that is happening maybe in our company, business, organizations, to be aware of catching any kind of maybe hacking patterns or issues or any kind of evidences that is going to help us. Or sometimes it's not about the evidences itself. Sometimes if you're trying to look for any kind of vulnerabilities, to just report this to the proper team or person in charge in order to just fix it. So again, you need this kind of attention, rough attention, or properly having this attention to your system in order to identify this kind of vulnerabilities, which could be reported to person or a team in this case to be fixed as soon as possible. Communication skill, that is really important as well. And the main reason behind it, so as I said, after identifying some sort of vulnerabilities or evidences after the incident, so probably you need to talk to a person in charge, maybe your manager or a team or someone maybe somewhere else. So it requires you to just manage this kind of, conversation properly, to tell people what happened in the case that if it's kind of incident, or in a case that probably if you got any kind of, if you found already, some sort of vulnerabilities, you need to talk to person in charge, or maybe again your manager, to tell him or her or the team what you identify, what you already found, and how probably they are able to fix this kind of issues. That's why communication is really, really important. And not only this, sometimes apart from verbally talking to these people, sometimes you need to make some sort of report, to submit this report to, again, person in charge. So for instance, just I mentioned about penetration testing or pen testing. So after doing pen testing, or to be very specific one, after identifying vulnerabilities of any systems or website or network or whatever it is, you need to make a report which is going to be submitted to someone who asks you to do this pen testing. So again, it requires you to properly communicate with the reader of this report properly, in the case that you want to write the stuff properly to be explained how you were able to identify these vulnerabilities, and how basically this team or this business, this company or development team, they are able to fix this kind of issues. So again, it requires you to master this skill, or again, it's called communication skill at the end of the day. Moving to next slide. And for sure, computer forensic skills. So it's necessary to be aware of this skill, because if you're trying to catch bad guys or bad actors or hackers, at the end of the day, it requires you to be aware of how you're able to identify such kind of evidences or kind of bad activities or malicious activities that happen on your computers or systems or network that already left there. So probably through computer forensic skills, you're able to catch, you're able to capture these evidences from here and there, and later on you are able to analyze these evidences, and you can understand what happened, you can understand the incident, you can understand the story behind this kind of attack, and probably you can move on after analyzing this case, after analyzing this kind of evidences at the end of the day. So that is really necessary to be aware of it in terms of skill. And moving to hacking or ethical hacking, put in this way. So not only you need to be aware of identifying those kind of just now I mentioned about evidences like through digital forensic stuff. So through ethical hacking, probably you should be able to identify any kind of available vulnerabilities or security issues relevant to your business, relevant to your organization or IT assets, specifically those vulnerabilities or those security issues that probably they are very harmful, and the attacker can take advantage of these issues or security issues to hack into your business or organization at the end of the day. That's why through ethical hacking, you can do mainly pen testing, or basically is helping you to put yourself basically as some sort of ethical hacker. You can call yourself ethical hacker or pen tester, to examine your IT assets at the end of the day to ensure that you are safe and secure, right? So this is kind of good skill. You should be master of it. And desire to learn, which is really important, again, similar to other skills. So you need to have this kind of idea that every single day, even is the same thing that is happening to me. So every single day you need to learn the new things. You need to practice and practice and practice, because cybersecurity is kind of fast growing, I can say, business or fast growing kind of area, that every single day we may have new attacks or new method, new ways to hack into something or to protect yourself or to find this vulnerability or to identify this evidence and so on and so forth. That's for every single day you must get online. You must be aware of the most recent things that probably happening around the world from here and there, maybe through LinkedIn or social media or Twitter, or sometimes under the ground kind of maybe Telegram groups or forums here and there, to be aware of the most recent attacks, malware, ransomware, the different ways to protect yourself against these things and so on and so forth. That's why the learning must be there. And if you're in cybersecurity, for sure you have to learn every single day based on your area, the direction that you want to move, whether it's pen testing or digital forensic or incident response, and much more other kind of jobs that we can have some sort of conversation at the end of this presentation. So moving to the next slide. Right, so this slide is showing us what are those essential programming languages that probably cybersecurity professional, they may need to master of them, or at least being aware of them. So I can say Python, C, C++, Bash, JavaScript, Java, PHP, SQL. These are the popular programming languages. First thing first, you should not just, you could, but it's up to you. You could master all of these things, but you could at least master one or some of them, like Python, maybe I don't know, SQL and PHP, just some of them. That is kind of the best one. But if you're okay, you can just try to understand all of these, essential programming languages for cybersecurity professional, if you like. And the question here is why we need to understand these programming languages, right? Because we are not developer, we are not software developer, we are not going to create something. Why we need to understand this kind of programming language? The answer to that is, I can explain this through different scenarios. So scenario number one would be, sometimes you're doing something like penetration testing, or you are looking for identifying vulnerabilities or security issues of your target, your business, your company that you're working or you are dealing with, or you already signed a contract to just do pen testing against their IT assets. So sometimes you're testing the system and you realize you want to do some sort of automation. You want to do this task through kind of automation automatically to check something for you. So it's going to just save your time. So automatically you can just, launch the specific attacks or specific tasks to be happen checking something for you. So that's what we can use, for instance, Bash or C, C++ or Python or any similar programming language to make this software or your application basically for yourself to do this kind of automation or running this kind of task on its own. This is scenario number one. The other scenario would be, apart from pen testing or identifying this scenario, maybe you are in digital forensic or basically incident response team, and you are looking for gathering a lot of evidences from different systems, machines, or you are dealing with huge amount of data or evidences. And analyzing this data is kind of time-consuming task. And you may or may not have access to kind of maybe application or tools that is relevant to your challenge, to your case. So probably in this case, you can make your own or creating your own kind of software application to download or access these evidences in order to analyze them within a couple of minutes, seconds, or maybe hours, and quickly you can just answer whatever challenge that is right in front of you, right? So this is scenario number 2. And scenario number 3 would be relevant to pen testing, but slightly different. So sometimes you are testing the IT assets, right? In terms of, coding, putting it this way, in terms of reviewing the code, in terms of understanding how the developer of the website, how the developer of this application or that software made this application, right? So if you're able to understand this basically programming language, probably you're able to understand the source code or the code of the developer of specific application. And by understanding this source code, probably you are able to identify if there is any kind of security issues or vulnerabilities relevant to any application or website in terms of source code, in terms of the view that basically the developer of website or specific application that he or she made it recently. So let me move on to next slide. So in terms of university degrees, so probably as you're aware of it, for sure, these days specifically, we may have bachelor degree in cybersecurity as well as master and PhD. And I'm going to just explain about the others like master and PhD right after this. So for bachelor degree, this is kind of rough idea. This is, I believe, maybe based on United States, it could be more or less. So it's equivalent to 120 credits, and usually is something between 3 to 4 years to get your bachelor degree in cybersecurity or information security, or, assurance, whatever you want to call it. More or less, the graduates probably after graduation, they're able to do kind of entry-level things such as maybe vulnerability assessment or a bit of, auditing or something like that. But if you move on to master level, which is right after this, for sure, is going to basically being around something like 30 credits, and it could be 1 year or 12 months from one country, maybe specific country, specifically in the UK, it could be 1 year program, or maybe other countries could be the same thing. But most of the country could be 1.5 to 2 years program. So the graduates of Master of Cybersecurity or Information Security, they can do kind of intermediate level kind of jobs, such as they could be security engineers or cryptographers, or they could be some sort of penetration tester at the end of the day, because this is on top of bachelor degree at the end of the day. And on top of master degree, for sure, we can talk about doctoral degree or PhD, put in this way. It could be minimum 3, maximum roughly 7 years, which is equivalent to roughly 60 credits. So within this kind of years, probably you should work on specific project, and you need to make your own dissertation or your report, which could be submitted to graduate. So during this kind of, long-term project, probably you can use specific topic in cybersecurity and apply different application or methods of cybersecurity around it, such as maybe machine learning, AI, and much more things, to ensure that you are able to solve specific challenge at the end of the day. So the graduates of PhD in cybersecurity, for sure, they are able to grow some other people who are really interested in cybersecurity. So what does this mean? It means that the PhD level, probably the doctors, they can just deliver the same thing to degree level people or master students, as well as they can join any kind of industry or businesses or consultation, right? They can just have this kind of skill and experience to do different things at the end of the day. And again, it's depending on their skills and experience that already learned during this kind of duration, which could be again 3 to 7 years at the end of the day. So moving to next slide. So the question here is, which is really interesting to be aware of it, do you really need degree for cybersecurity career? So the short answer is no, to be honest, right? You don't need degree to just move to cybersecurity. mainly what you need skills, you need experience in this case, right? What I'm trying to say, university can give you the same thing, skills and experience, but the thing here is university is usually basically is going to take like maybe more time compared to bootcamp and certifications, right? Bootcamp and certifications, they are there to intensively giving you this kind of taste and experience and knowledge about cybersecurity. That's why by joining any kind of boot camps or certifications, you are able to achieve the skills, this knowledge or necessary skills that you may need in order to move to cybersecurity. And there is another statistical information that I already mentioned there. And about 20% of the employers who are basically asking people to join their businesses or companies in terms of cybersecurity roles or jobs, they never may require you to have a proper cybersecurity degree, right? So it's about that. And as I said, it's requiring you to just being aware of skills and knowledge and experience of cybersecurity rather than just, having proper or relevant or irrelevant kind of cybersecurity degree from specific university, right? And for sure, there are some sort of organizational businesses, they may require you to have relevant cybersecurity or information security degrees. It's not basically zero, I can say. Yeah, for sure there are some, but it's very limited at the end of the day. Moving to next one. The question here is how to work in cybersecurity without a degree. So just I mentioned about, we may not need to have any degree to just learn cybersecurity things. So what are the options in order to basically learn about cybersecurity? So first thing first, like as I said just now, it could be happen through kind of boot camps or certifications. So popular companies, businesses around the world, they may offer you some sort of certifications or boot camps. It could be online one, could be offline one. You can just join these kind of trainings or boot camps in order to just certify from their programs. The other one, which is kind of self-learning approach in this case, it's requiring you to be aware of your materials from here and there in terms of maybe videos, books, or magazine, or different resources from here and there. Could be paid one, could be free one, to get to know what you need to understand, what you need to basically learn in terms of cybersecurity. But the issue in terms of self-learning, I will come to that, but for now I can just let you know, as long as you're not aware of what's going on, what's happening, what is the goal, there is no one to just guide you or help you, probably self-learning is going to be kind of time-consuming task. You could be success in terms of self-learning, but it's going to be, kind of long-term learning compared to certification or internship, which is approach number 3 in this case. So the internship would be the other kind of, way is going to help you to learn cybersecurity skills and experience. And basically, in this case, you're trying to work for industry somehow for maybe a couple of days or weeks or months. It's different from one place to other places or countries to other countries. So during this time, basically, you're working on a specific project in terms of hands-on and practical one. And you're trying to solve those kind of challenges that is already assigned to you. So you will join businesses, companies to work on a specific cybersecurity challenge in order to learn this kind of skills and experience at the end of the day. So choosing cybersecurity career path that works for you. So this slide is going to show you the cybersecurity job market outlook relevant to different years, like all the way from 2019 up to 2030. And as you can see, at the moment, we are in 2023. So he's expecting that this year, the job market for cybersecurity would be $249.88 billion US dollar. And it's going to increase, it's going to just move to in 2030, is going to be 675.02 billion US dollar at the end of the day. So as you can see, this kind of jump from now until next almost 7 years from now, and it's quite, I can say, is more than double at the end of the day. So even the job market is going to be increased. That's why, again, we need cybersecurity expert, we need cybersecurity professional to join this area to basically fill this gap or this kind of jobs that are available globally here and there. So in terms of cybersecurity career pathway, we can divide cybersecurity jobs in terms of different levels, such as entry level, intermediate level, and senior level. For those of you who have done some sort of things like networking, you have been in networking, or you have done some sort of software development things, maybe you are developer, software developer, or maybe you are some sort of system engineers, or you have done system engineering or network engineering or network administrations, or maybe financial and risk analysis, or security intelligence, or security, I don't know, maybe different roles in terms of security. So where you are able to move to entry-level jobs such as cybersecurity technicians, IT auditor, and incident analyst. After a couple of years, once you will get some sort of knowledge and experience, you can move on to intermediate level. You can be cybersecurity analyst, you can be cybersecurity consultant, and for sure you can be penetration tester. And again, after a couple of years, you can move to senior level to be some sort of cybersecurity administrator, cybersecurity engineer, and cybersecurity architect. Please keep this in your mind that these are some examples of or roles that are relevant to each category. For sure, we can have more than this for each category. At least we can have 10 to 20 kind of roles. These are some popular roles to ensure that we got some sort of understanding relevant to different category, different basically level at the end of the day. So for instance, let's have a look on some sort of cybersecurity jobs around that might be available around. So you could be penetration tester. So as I said, penetration tester is a person that basically checking different systems, website, web application, mobile network to ensure that we are safe against any kind of attacks, and they're looking for finding, identify any vulnerabilities or security issues. So in the US, the average salary is about 118,000 USD dollar, I can say. For compliance analyst, which is basically about ensuring that you are following, aligning your business, your company, aligned with some sort of industry regulations, kind of maybe policy that is coming from government, sometimes from third parties. So you're aligning your business with this kind of security requirement or security industry regulations. So in this case, probably in the US, it's about 92,000 USD. So you can study, you can just get online and refer to your region, your country, kind of, job market to be aware of this kind of, salary that is relevant to your area or your country. The other job could be called threat intelligence analyst. That is about 98,000 USD. And threat intelligence, basically, they are focusing on mainly the motivation behind any kind of incident or attack. They're looking for being aware of the most recent attacks that happened. What are those methods, techniques, procedures, the ways, the motivation that the hackers or hacking team, they may use in order to hack into your business, organization, and so on and so forth. So this is kind of good job. People who are in this area, they are really, looking for understanding what's happening, or how hackers they are thinking, and what would be their motivation, and so on and so forth. Or you could be some sort of SOC analyst or security operations center analyst. Basically, these people who are in this team or SOC team, they are monitoring your system, the network, the entire business, IT assets to ensure that the business operation is working 24/7 without any kind of issues or problem at the end of the day. So the salary for that is about 106 or 106,000 USD at the end of the day. By the way, for SOC analysts, we may have different levels. We could be SOC 1 or layer 1, layer 2, layer 3 at the end of the day, and the management after it. So different levels, they can basically do different responsibility. It requires different skills and knowledge, which is out of the scope of this presentation. If you like, we can have some sort of further conversation later on. You could be cybersecurity engineer. Basically, cybersecurity engineer could could install, could set up any kind of cybersecurity solutions, maybe firewall, maybe intrusion detection system, or any similar mechanism to ensure that the network, the systems, servers are safe and secure. So in the US, they can make 108 United States at the end of the day dollar. Or you could be cybersecurity consultant, which is basically giving some sort of advices to people, organizations, company, businesses here and there to ensure that they are following some sort of guideline or best practices in terms of cybersecurity to ensure that they are safe and secure. So these people more or less they can make 89,000 USD dollar at the end of the day. But again, could be more, could be less, depending on which kind of services, which kind of, things or area you are providing your consultancy at the end of the day. So how to learn the skills you need? Let me just, because I believe I've got only a couple of minutes, like 7 to 8. As I said, these are different ways you can just learn cybersecurity, self-study. This is one of the ways that you can just go ahead and learn cybersecurity knowledge and experience. But there are some sort of pros and cons for each approach. So in terms of pros for self-study is path, or basically it's about kind of your speed of learning. It could be depending on you, whether it's very slow or whether you want to just do it fast. So it's up to you. Is inexpensive for sure. So since you're learning these things from here and there, or from kind of online or free places, so this is going to be kind of inexpensive one. But there are some sort of cons in this case. You need a lot of discipline, right, to stay on track. So it means that you need to just motivate yourself to study every single day. You should not just disappointed at any time that you don't understand anything. That's why it's really important in this case. And it could take a long time for sure. And I already mentioned this, because there is no one around you to guide you, to help you what basically you are doing, whether they need basically someone could guide you, whether you are on the right track or maybe you are on the wrong track and should come back to the right direction. Moving to the next one, going back to college, right? So you can just come back to college and just do these things again. So for pros, we may have, for sure, you need to understand, if you go there, you could understand the very fundamental thing, which is very important. But in terms of cons, it could be very expensive and it's going to take a long time, at least 3 to 4 years of your life at the end of the day. So it's up to you whether you want to choose this approach. And the next approach is, as I said, just joining any kind of boot camps, and there are some sort of pros and cons for this. So for pros, we could say it's quite cheap. You will gain kind of hands-on or practical skills, and you will basically offer online or in-person kind of programs. It could be online or offline one. And sometimes it could take a couple of weeks to a couple of maybe months in this case, in order to just get to know this knowledge and experience. So in terms of cons, it requires strong self-motivation and time management skills. So it's similar to self-study a bit, but for sure it doesn't have such kind of, blindly you're not doing something because there is someone guiding you. But again, it's only you basically. You need to help yourself, to motivate yourself to be on the right track in order to just get to know this kind of skill and experience at the end of the day. So we reached to the last slide, which is about takeaways. So we discussed about cybersecurity as kind of fast-growing industry, and we discussed about kind of market that we need cybersecurity professional in this case. Without cybersecurity professional, we are not able to ensure that our businesses or this world is safe and secure. So we understood that we need not only to learn soft skill things such as communication skill, presentation skills, and maybe problem solving skills, but also we may need to be aware of some sort of technical skills at the end of the day to help us to solve the challenges. We discussed about different programming languages such as SQL, Python, JavaScript, Java, and much more things relevant to cybersecurity. And we discussed about different approaches in terms of cybersecurity that people, they can learn cybersecurity concept using these different approaches or different methods. So we reached to the end of this presentation, and we got almost 5 minutes to the end of this presentation, and we can move on to Q&A. And thank you so much for your listening.
Thank you, Wahab, for this lovely presentation also. I'm pretty sure a lot of questions were answered today.
No problem.
We already had about, what cybersecurity is all about, what you need to know. It was great, at least for me. Now, guys, let's move on to the question and answers now. So if anyone of you have any question that you want to go ahead and ask, you can either go ahead and type it in the chat box, or I've given you the option now that you can go ahead and unmute yourself also. So you can go ahead and ask whatever question is there in your mind, and we would be glad to answer that for you.
Thank you so much. So Sanket, again, I need to remind you basically, in the case that someone is going to type to the chat box, please could you just read the questions to me?
I can, but if somebody is directly sending a message to you, then it would be a little problem for me to read.
Right. Yeah, please just send it to the chat box. Yeah.
Yeah, please send it to me or send it to everyone. I can see it from there. So, Jertho has a question. Will pen testing be a part of cybersecurity bootcamp? So, I can definitely let you know that pen testing is an important aspect, and that is something that you have to learn. Okay, you cannot be a cybersecurity expert until and unless you're familiar with networking, pen testing, yeah, ethical hacking, things as such. So, Jertho, let's talk about this with Wahab also. Wahab, how important is pen testing in terms of cybersecurity? You've been doing it for a while.
Exactly. As if you even back to my first presentation, which was about me. So I'm doing pen testing at the moment. That is really important because what's the common between the bad guys and good guys, or cybersecurity professional and hackers, is exactly the same goal. Both of them, right? Cybersecurity professionals and hackers, they are looking for vulnerabilities or security issues within your company or businesses at the end of the day. That's why from good side, from cybersecurity professional basically side, we need to be aware of how we are able to identify these kind of security issues, vulnerabilities, because again, the attacker, they are looking for the same thing that could be happen from their side. So if we are able to catch this kind of vulnerabilities before the attackers, before the hackers, for sure we can just fix these kind of issues before the hackers who are looking for hacking into our business and organization. That's what vulnerability assessment, and to be very specific on a bit of advanced level, which is called pen testing, is really kind of necessary for cybersecurity, necessary skill in cybersecurity.
Awesome. Anybody has any question, you can either type it in or you can go ahead and unmute and say. Do not speak over others. Okay, I'll take all your questions. You can even raise your hand if that suits you. I have one question coming in from Showboy Ola. What IT courses relates to health? As a nurse practitioner, what IT course can one do to work in the health organization?
As a
Would you
ne-
like to take that?
as a nurse, right? As a nurse, did
He
I hear?
so Ola is currently working as a nurse, if I'm right, and he or she's probably planning to go ahead and move into IT. So I
Mhm.
guess maybe data science, cybersecurity, something as such is what they have in mind. What would you suggest for somebody who's working as a nurse?
Net, yeah, for sure. So since you are kind of far away from, in general, I mean, IT or computer science, probably you need to just ensure that your skills and knowledge fundamentally is quite rich to the level that you're able to understand, at least IT or the systems or web or technology around that. So it requires you to at least get to know these fundamental things in computer science or IT. And then probably from there, you are able to decide which aspect of computer science or IT you are looking for. So for now, I couldn't suggest you to just come to cybersecurity or I don't know, machine learning or data science or whatever you want to say, because you haven't basically experienced probably this kind of general idea about IT or computer science. So once you learn these things, probably from there, you can decide whether I'm looking for cybersecurity things or whether I want to move to, data science or different aspect of computer science or IT at the end of the day. So first thing first, as I said, you need to just get to know this fundamental of IT or computer science. And then later on, based on your experience over the past few weeks or months, put in this way, by learning these fundamental things, then you can just understand, okay, I really like this topic maybe over the past few weeks, or I didn't like this topic. So based on your kind of interest or what you like or didn't like, you can decide which one you should move on later on. So this is kind of suggestion I can just provide to you right now.
Awesome, awesome. All right, so guys, any more question? I see, Wahab, there's a question coming in. This is from our LinkedIn page also. So I'll take
Mhm.
that first, then I'll move to Rizkar after this.
Yeah, go
So
ahead.
I have Kareen, she is on LinkedIn right now. She says, I'm working in data center. Would it be beneficial to take diploma in cybersecurity or just certifications would suffice? So again, we already discussed this, Kareen, just to give you a heads up. Both have their own pros and cons. Okay, if you are taking a diploma or a degree program, the cost is a lot higher. The tenure is also something which is for a longer period of time. Certifications have their own pros and cons. I'll put this question through with Wahab. Okay, so Wahab, this is a common question. We get this a lot, ourselves also. Some of the people, so they are confused. Shall I go ahead and do a certification course, in order to go ahead and start my career in cybersecurity, or should I go ahead and maybe spend 1 year or 2 year doing a degree? What's your take on that, Wahab?
You're right. So my answer to this kind of question would be depending on what you would like to do. For instance, if you want to stay with the same kind of company or business, but you need to just upskill your knowledge. So in this case, and obviously you don't need to just join any kind of, university at the end of the day. Probably you're looking for upskilling your skills at the end of the day. So in this case, you need to just join any kind of boot camps or certifications to be aware of the most recent kind of relevant skill that it may require you to just move from one level to other levels in this case. But if you're thinking of just leaving this business, or you want to just move or migrate to different places or countries, that probably maybe they may require you to have kind of a university degree or something like that. So that's a kind of different story. So again, it's depending on your situation at the end of the day. So you should just be clear with yourself to just understand what you want to do in the future. But for sure, if you want to stay with the same kind of company or place or organization, you need kind of skills put in this way. So if you want to just mention this in a nutshell, if you're looking for skills, just apply or subscribe or just register yourself for some sort of boot camps or certifications or this kind of programs. But if you're looking for kind of something else, probably maybe university degrees could be relevant in this case. So it's depending on your choice, your future plan that is coming, and it's in your mind at the end of the day.
That is very well said. I have another question coming in from Rizkar, and more or less, what Karen asked, what he's asking. Let me first of all go ahead and rephrase his question. Rizkar Ali says, having only a boot camp, which is short time learning, is it enough to gain knowledge required to land in first job in cybersecurity? So he wants to know, can I go ahead and land a cybersecurity job, start my career in cybersecurity, after doing, let's say, a boot camp, okay, through us somewhere else, not necessarily, about us. But guys, let me be absolutely upfront with one small thing. Learning is an ongoing process, okay? You cannot expect yourself to be saturated. For example, Wahab will probably agree with me. He has already done his PhD right now, okay? So that's the pinnacle, there's no degree or certification that you can take after that. But does that stop him from learning new things every day? It doesn't. He has to keep learning, and likewise you have to keep learning. So it's an ongoing process. You do one certification, 2, 3, as many as you want. Technologies will keep go on and expanding, and you will have to keep upskilling. Right now, let me bring Wahab into the conversation. Wahab, about the question that Rizkar has to say about landing your first job in cybersecurity. Okay,
that's true. That's true. I do agree with you. Yeah, even at this level, every single day, to be honest, I'm learning the new things. Every single day, I'm learning for 4 or 5 hours, basically in the morning or maybe afternoon or maybe at night. So it's kind of ongoing, as I said, I mentioned this previously. So it's kind of ongoing area at the end of the cybersecurity. But in order to get the very first job, entry-level job, yes, bootcamp can help you to get into kind of first-level jobs or entry-level jobs. If you're really serious to just get to know the skills and knowledge as well as certification, right? Because once you go to interviews, so probably they may ask you first thing first about your skills and knowledge. Probably they may ask you to do hands-on or practical things, because these days companies, they're looking for specifically in IT or cybersecurity. If you're able to show them some sort of demonstration that you're able to do these things, so probably you already passed the very first kind of step of interview, and the second one would be some sort of maybe certification that you may have. So these two things, they are going to be very handy, useful in this case to just pass the interview, and probably can just get kind of entry-level cybersecurity job. So my suggestion is, yeah, please get into kind of entry-level jobs, and once you get this job is already secure, so you got this. So you can not only making some sort of money, but also you can just attend other kind of boot camps in order to upskill your knowledge to move on to high level kind of cybersecurity jobs over the next, let's say, 6 months or 1 year or 2 years from now. So this is kind of suggestion I can just let you know to be aware of it for now.
Just to add to that, we offer a 6 months program also that is designed in such a way that you go ahead and you can actually go ahead and kickstart your journey as a cybersecurity professional. In any which ways, visit our website and get to know about the program. You can connect with our counselor, and they will be more than happy to assist you with this also. Harish has a question. Now, Harish seems to be confused between AWS or cybersecurity. So his question is, which is more demand in future, AWS or cybersecurity? I am confused which one to learn. I have 5+ years of experience in manual testing. Since I am not finding career growth in my current profile, I'm looking to change my domain. Which one will give me more job opportunities and financial growth? And I'm also interested in moving abroad. Can you guide me with this? Let me tell you one thing, Harish. I actually started as a data engineer. Okay. So I can totally understand. My personal suggestion to you would be to do what you like. Okay. And you will go ahead and get more growth, whether it's AWS or cybersecurity. It's not about the money. It's about you enjoying your work. If you go ahead and enjoy what you do, it's great. And trust me on this, cybersecurity is amazing. You come across new challenges every day, new problems every day. And people who enjoy them, they actually love what they do. Wahab, what's your take on this question that Harish has? He,
Yeah,
he he has the same problem as most of the people. After 5 years, 7 years, you're getting saturated with what you're doing.
mhm.
Salaries not increasing, you're not getting the promotions as you want them to, and you look planning to switch your career or maybe look for something that is more promising. So go
Exactly.
ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So I couldn't basically just, compare these two things because I'm not toward AWS or cloud-based things and so on and so forth. I'm more towards cybersecurity. I can just talk about cybersecurity itself. And for sure, as I just show you, so the market is growing and I know about the cybersecurity and the gap basically that is already available in job market. So for sure, this is kind of growing and it's going to be increased every single year. And in terms of AWS and cloud, or in general, put in this way, if you may feel that this is my basically just answer to this, if you may feel that you're not growing in your area or something like that, please just stop and think for a while. What's happening, right? Why you are not enjoying your job? Is that something relevant to your skills and knowledge that you may need to upskill yourself? Or is that because of your company, the business that basically you're working at the moment? Probably you may need to move on. Probably you may need to migrate. Probably you need to just change your business, or probably you may need to just improve your knowledge and experience in this case to stay in the same area, but could be AWS or cloud, or probably you are looking for cybersecurity. So again, please just think internally just for a couple of days to understand the root cause of this issue, whether it's kind of lack of knowledge or issue relevant to you, or is relevant to your business or company that you're working, or your region, your area. In order to identify, first thing first, you need to move on to cybersecurity. If you're thinking of, yes, moving to cybersecurity because of this reason, this reasonable basically, reason, yes, go ahead and change to cybersecurity. But you may think that after a couple of days of thinking, deeply thinking, you may say, no, it's because of me. Maybe I don't have such enough or experience or knowledge or maybe certifications that probably I can just request for maybe a promotion or something like that. So you can just fix it in this way. This is kind of answer I can share with you right now. Sanket, are you still there?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. And thank
Yeah,
you once again for the explanation.
no
Harish,
problem.
if you need more, insights on this, I strongly recommend you to go ahead and get in touch with one of the counselors that we have. They can understand, your past, and they can probably recommend you. We have multiple programs also. We have been working with AWS. We've been working with Microsoft Azure also. We worked with, blockchain for that matter, data science for that matter. So we can help you go ahead and choose the right direction that probably you should move along. uh, Salman has a question. What type of things to study to prepare for technical interviews?
Right, technical interviews, exactly. So that's a good question, because sometimes some of my students who recently graduated are asking me these things. So usually I'm talking about, I can talk about kind of different strategies. So first thing first, you need to be aware of the job description that is already posted online. You need to be aware of those elements that already mentioned, because once you go to the interview, so probably they may ask you this kind of question relevant to the specific topic that is already mentioned through job description. So what I'm suggesting to my students so far, so before graduation, please ensure that at least do your own research. It means that just if you want to be pen tester, if you want to be digital forensic investigator, just go online and get those kind of job description from different places. Or if you want to stay with your region, maybe in your country, or you want to go abroad, so please just gather these things from different places and study their job description and study the common elements or items relevant to this kind of job description to ensure that you're ready for their interviews. It means that through this kind of job description, the moment they mention about some sort of keywords, for instance, we need someone to know this technology or deal with this, that, or dealing with these things. So probably if you get to know these things, if you are able to understand this technology and mechanism and practice these things, so for sure you are able to pass the interviews, right? And the other strategy that you can do for some cybersecurity skills, there are some sort of online kind of interview, passing the interview cheat sheet or something like that. So it means that if you just go through this kind of interview cheat sheet, someone or some people in the past, they have gone through this kind of interviews and they prepare you some sort of questions to be aware of popular questions that probably these people, they may ask you during this kind of interviews. So you can study these interview questions, and with this hope that some of these questions could be exactly the same thing that in the past you thought of these things and you got the answer for this kind of coming question for your interview at the end of the day. Sankit, you are muted, I believe.
All right, thank you. Harish, you can connect with us. I've sent you the email address. You can send, an email over there, and we will be more than happy, to help you. Showboy Ola, he says, thought I discussed it before. I am currently doing cybersecurity. Okay, I think I remember we had a word in the past. Okay, if I'm right, you're from London. So yeah, he did ask me this question, and let me go ahead and bring this question up with Wahab also. So Wahab, the situation is there is something that people are confused between. One is they go ahead and do a boot camp or they go ahead and do a course. Okay, so you get all the knowledge that you need, in order to start your career. Okay, and is it enough to start a career? And how important are the certifications in parallel to it? Like Comperia Security plus 601, CISSP, CS, there are multiple certifications that people can actually do. Is it necessary in order to go ahead and do a certification to start, a career in cybersecurity, or boot camps are enough? So
okay, to be
courses
honest, yeah,
versus certification, I guess that's
exactly. Yeah, I got the point of that. To be honest, so it's depending on where you want to just apply for this kind of specific, jobs. I can say, yeah, it's 50-50 depending on job. I've seen some organization or companies or businesses, they may not basically requesting you to have any kind of certification. They may need you to have proper or the right years of experience or knowledge in this case without having any single certifications. But some companies or organizations, I've seen some sort of, those things mentioned about CISSP or Security Plus or any pen testing, for instance, or digital forensic certifications. So again, it's depending on the company or businesses that basically you are trying to apply for in this case. So it could be different from one place to other places. So what I can say, so it's like me, I'm moving toward both of them. Not only I'm learning these things and experiencing this thing, and at the same time just getting these certifications in case that if I'm, for instance, attending any kind of interview, so I'm able to just pass both of them in terms of technicality. If they may ask any kind of questions or anything relevant to that, I'm able to just, technically showing these things to them. And on the other hand, if they may ask any kind of certification, I can just provide the certification to this team or maybe interview team. And finally, that could be kind of pass for both of them.
All right. I have another question. Otto is also saying, so we are getting similar, questions. Otto says, for a person without a tech background, what crucial certificate that I need to take or course certification complete? So again, coming back to this question that most of the people have, certificates, courses, let me be absolutely clear to all of you about one thing. Okay, and I'm sure Wahab will agree with me on that also. These certificates, these courses, both more or less are designed to make sure that you are equipped with all the knowledge that you need. Now, having said that, these certificates, these courses, they are probably going to go ahead and get you a seat, next to a recruiter. Okay. But at the end of the day, none of these will fetch you a job. You will get a job based on the knowledge that you acquired. Okay. Nobody is going to go ahead and give you a job just on the basis that you have the certification or, you have done some course or, you have studied from some university. Doesn't matter. You have to go ahead and pass the technical rounds. So that is very important, guys. It's the knowledge that fetches you a job at the end of the day. When we go ahead and provide a course at Exaltus, the whole and soul idea, why are we doing the instructor-led programs? Why are we teaching, in terms of problem statements and solution coming next to it? That is whole and soul with the idea that you understand how work is done in the real-time environment. That is why we have all these projects, internships, everything coming into the picture. But having said that, both certificates, courses, they will go ahead and help you schedule an interview, but both works in the same way. But to make sure that you get a job at the end of the day, it's your knowledge that will be required. Wahab, would you like to add something to this?
100%, I agree with you. Exactly, because once you get this job even, right, so you need to just show these things in terms of technicality, right? You need to just show what you learn and which kind of experience and knowledge you already know over there. Yeah, I agree with that. I totally agree with that.
That is true. People have spent thousands of dollars, get degrees. They still find it hard to get a job. There are guys who just sit on, next to maybe a YouTube channel or read a book, and they go ahead and go, places. It all depends from person to person and the kind of effort that you're putting in, more or less. Anybody else has any more questions? Or to Ola, I hope you're satisfied with the answers. If you have a follow-up question, or if you want to speak, I'm allowing all of you to unmute yourself and talk also. We can wait for another 5 minutes, so we can squeeze in another question or two. If anybody has any more question, I'll be more than happy to go ahead and entertain that. You can even unmute and ask if there's any. All right, then I do not see any more questions coming in. Well, I guess we are going to go ahead and Ola says, do I need a book for the exam now? Do I need to book for an exam now? All right. So what do you say, Wahab? He has this question, Ola. He says that he's already doing a certification from somewhere. Shall he go ahead and, book for an exam also?
Yeah, of course. If you are booking your exam right now, so probably you got some sort of goal in front of you, which is going to push you, which is going to motivate you.
Follow-up question. He says, shall I go ahead and book for an exam right now or after the completion of the program?
Okay, so it's depending on the duration of the program. So if the completion of the program is it's very close. Yeah, if it's very close, so I'm suggesting you just go ahead and just book your exam, because as I said, so it's going to push you, it's going to motivate you. Just sit for your final exam, sit for your basically exam at the end of the day. But if it's far away, I mean, you just started maybe your program, so it's not suggesting you to just book your exam right now. You need to practice. You need basically just maybe gain more knowledge, and once you 100% ensure that you're able to move on, so now we can just book your exam at the end of the day. So again, it's depending on you whether you learn the things and you're getting closer to the end of program, you have such kind of level of confidentiality, basic confidence that you are able to proceed. So that's it. You can go ahead and just register for your exam.
I would say 30 to 45 days before your program ends. That's my suggestion.
Right.
How I prepare tools for learn? Dicky has this question. How I prepare tools for learn?
Tools for.
I guess she or he is more interested about the softwares. I guess Kali Linux or Shodan or something as such.
Yeah, because it was something else in my mind. So in terms of tools, we can talk about two things. Yeah, for instance, in terms of hacking tools, yeah, for sure we can have our own virtual labs, such as you said just now, Kali, or using virtualization, maybe Kali Linux would be the best one, as well as a couple of other virtual machines, maybe Windows machine, couple of other Linux machine. This is going to be your totally virtual lab to up and run your virtual environment. In terms of tools for learning, maybe you can just use kind of online or offline way to make your own notes. So whatever you are doing or learning, please make sure you are basically making kind of notes for yourself. So this notes later on is going to be very handy, useful at the end of the day. So if you forgot something, you can quickly refer back to your note and understand what you missed or what does this mean. So this kind of notes, short form of something, so it's going to be very handy. Maybe once you are getting closer to your exam, or even in reality, after getting any kind of job, probably you need to repeat the same thing. So this task, these things that you already made your own note is going to be available there for you. So you can learn these things later on.
That is true. And when you enroll into the program, more or less, there will be a guide. There are videos on YouTube also that you can follow in order to, set your system up. Another follow-up question, like software and spec computer. I guess Dicky wants to know more about what is the computer configuration that would be recommended for learning cybersecurity. What do you suggest, Wahab, in terms of what kind of computer one should have?
Okay, so I can say any computer, any laptop, any desktop, whatever you want to call it, at least it should be Core i5 with minimum 8 gigabytes memory and 512 gigabyte SSD. So it would be more than enough for kind of self-learning. So it's exactly the same kind of setup that I'm using for my home. So I'm using this for daily basis kind of learning, doing this and that. So it's more than enough. So again, Core i5, and then at least 8 gigabyte RAM and 512 gigabyte hard disk SSD. So the more, the better kind of, performance and space, or maybe labs you can just up and run.
So i5 processor, 8 GB RAM,
And
and
512 gigabyte SSD. Yeah.
SSD hard drive. That is
And
what is
yeah, and the reason behind why is SSD, because for sure, as we know, it's much more faster, and we are trying to up and run different virtual machines. So since these virtual machines are really quite heavy, like sometimes 50 gigabyte in terms of the size, or 100 gigabyte, more or less. So we need kind of faster hard disk to help us to up and run these different virtual machines. So that's why SSD is much more faster than kind of normal hard disk.
awesome. All right. Is there any other question? So do I need to buy a laptop this particular course? Because at the moment I use my phone. Obviously, Ola, you cannot go ahead and do this course with your phone. You will need a laptop.
Yeah,
How will you go
of
ahead and
course.
practice? You will need a laptop. See, this
Exactly.
is the recommended system that we are talking about. Okay, so that is what we recommend. But you have to have a laptop. Without laptop, you cannot learn.
Mm.
How will you install the virtual machines? How will you practice?
Yeah, exactly. So students, they need basically to install virtual machines on the laptop to practice these things, because it's not just using mobile phone to just reading the stuff and going through it. So cybersecurity is about hands-on. It requires a lot of practical hands-on things to be done in order to understand what's going on, what's happening. So it's not like the other maybe area that quickly you can just use your phone to watch the stuff and you can say, I learned these things and I can just get a job or go into interview. No, it's not going to work.
Right, Otto, I see that you're saying I say in the academy 16-month course. All right, Otto, we don't have 16-month course. It's 6 months course. Okay, probably it's a glitch. I'm not sure, but the program that we offer, it's a 6 months course that we offer. It's not a 16-month program. I have shared the link with you and the others also in the chat right now, so you can probably see it. That will give you an idea. Okay. Also, if you go to the website, the phone number, the email address, that is info@exaltus.tech, is already mentioned over there. So you can go ahead and send us an email, and we'll be more than happy to assist you with this. Or I can arrange a call from one of my counselors also to help you understand things better. Thank you, Ola. Thank you for your message. I really appreciate that. Anybody else has any more questions coming in? Well, I don't see any more questions coming in. I guess we are going to call it a day. So thank you once again, Wahab, for being a part of this session. I'm pretty
No problem.
sure all the students also enjoyed. Well, I did for sure. There's so much learning that was there. There's so many clarities that a lot of people actually got. And I am looking forward to seeing all of you into the program as we go ahead and move forward. Just to give you an idea, we have another batch starting next week, that is 13th. So if any one of you is interested in kickstarting their career in cybersecurity, you know where to connect. And as I said, the 6 months program is designed to go ahead and give you a career that you look for. Yes, we do have intakes, Salman, in the 13th batch. You can check with the counselor. We do have limited seats only, but I guess there will be a few. Okay. Jeto says, I already enrolled. Awesome, Jeto. Awesome. Great to see you. And we'll be talking more into the program. All right, Wahab, any last words from you before we go ahead and disconnect?
No, that's it for today. And again, thank you so much, everyone, for joining me. And I hope to see you probably next week, something like that, if the class will be started.
Thank you, guys. You have a wonderful day ahead. Bye-bye. Take care
Take
and
care,
stay safe.
everyone. Thank you,
Thank you.
Sanket. Take care. See you. Bye now.
Bye.